Main thing that I sometimes ask people, because everybody has different opinions, and also depends where you live, about
Yeah.
what do you like to do. Do you like to use double deep, single deeps? I guess I could ask you that, but what I'd answer to that is I have one that has a deep and a super. I have three that have single deeps, and I have two that have double deep. So I'm mixed. What is your preferred method for that kind of stuff?
Well, I like singles and double deeps both, but for different reasons. For a long time, well, not a long time, about 10 years, I ran my colonies mostly as a deep and a shallow. And the reason for that was really simple. I could get 4 pallets high on a semi truck for transportation. Instead of, if you use double deeps, you can only get 3 pallets high on a semi truck. So when I'm sending bees to California or out of state up north, I could get more bees on a truck. I always ran with the shallows on the bottom because I still did do a lot of splitting in the spring. And with the deep on top in that brood nest configuration, I always had the assets I wanted for making splits right there in that top box. And I actually rarely got into the shallow, which was on the bottom. I like double deeps for less swarming, less starving, lots of assets for splitting. You got a lot there to choose from when you're trying to make nukes, and also when you're shaking packages, you tend to have more bees in the early spring. Double deeps do, in my experience, overwinter with more bees and build up a little to higher numbers early in the spring. But then when singles are so much more efficient when it comes to treating for mites, or if you're trying to find the queen, the singles are much easier to find the queen. And this is going to sound funny, but I think if it's properly managed, I think you can actually make more honey with a single. But of course, that leads to one of their major drawbacks, and that is that you're going to have to feed some sugar to make up for the honey that wasn't left behind. So they both have pros and cons, and I like them both for different reasons. And right now, I would say that probably 2/3 of my outfit is double deeps, and the rest are singles. The colonies that are singles were hives that got started late in the season last year and never made it quite big enough to be a double deep. A lot of the splits we start in spring will end up being colonies that make sourwood honey in July, and we will have them ready to make sourwood on the 1st of July. And if I'm trying to make them into a double deep colony, they're not big enough and full enough to make sourwood honey by the 1st of July yet. So those end up going the rest of the season as a single. And then next year, then we either sell them or add another deep on them and make them into a double deep.